Sorry, I don't know what to...
That's good. Like, what is the story?
It was like we had done all the right things. You know, we were Catholic, we were going to church, it wasn't happening. It was painful. There was like a stained glass window there for him in Wisconsin, which we were like, how did that end up here? My name is Dominique Tomaino. I am a wife and mother and lawyer. So I have been a Catholic my whole life. My mom has always been very devoted in her faith and has always been a good example, and very devoted to Mary too. As I grew up, she would take us on Marian pilgrimages. We got to visit Fatima and Lourdes and all the beautiful places in Europe that really helped instill the faith in me and helped me grow up closer to the faith. I went off to a Catholic college, Ave Maria University, and then Ave Maria School of Law, which is where I met my husband. We met, going to church together and studying together, and it was a great relationship. Got married right out of law school. But the challenge that came for us is we wanted to grow our family once we got married, and we were hit with the difficulty of infertility. So I had always known that it may be a problem for me, and but the doctor said, it'll just take some time. But as time went on, we hoped for kids as soon as we got married, and as time went on, a year, 2, it wasn't happening, and we found great Catholic doctors to treat with, and we're following all the guidelines of the church because we really believed it. It was challenging in my faith a lot because it was like we had done all the right things. We were Catholic, we were going to church, we were, praying, and we wanted this beautiful thing of children in our life. And we just didn't know why it wasn't happening. So that was the hardest time in my faith journey. It was very, very challenging, and I guess I got a little bit bitter. My husband he was such a rock. He was always stayed devoted to his faith, which was good for me. Even if I didn't feel like I wanted to pray, he'd always be there praying. But as time goes on again, you're like, I'm doing all the right things. I'm following the church's guidance. I'm praying. I'm doing everything I can, and we're still, why don't we have children? So I think, as that got more and more difficult, my prayer life, it got more and more difficult as well. And sometimes the only thing I could say was, Mary, be a mother to me. Mary, help me through this. Help me. Sorry. But help me see through this, because it was painful. It was an article I read that a friend had written, and it was this story about how even in our suffering, God is there with us. And it really helped me change my mindset from, this is some punishment God is giving me, to like, this is the result of the brokenness of the world. I may never know why, but God is in there with that, in that difficulty with me. And so it really helped change my mindset and bring me back closer to that devotion to the faith. And then my husband and I started going down the path of adoption, and I'm also adopted, so it's special for us because I had a very positive experience being adopted. So it's really been the biggest blessing to grow our family through that way. About 5-6 years into our marriage, we started down the path of adoption, and we were chosen by my daughter's birth mother at the time. We were so excited, but so nerve-wracked. We were chosen a month before my daughter was due to be born. And so we're just racing to get everything ready. Just so nervous. And we knew my daughter's birth mother was going to be induced to give birth. So we knew when to show up. It was out of state of where we were living, so we knew when to fly in and be there for when my daughter was going to be born. But in adoption, anything can happen. So we were also, very, very nervous. And I'll never forget, we fly in, which it was me and my husband and my mother also accompanied us. She was there to help us out. We fly in and land in the state my daughter was going to be born in, and then we're hearing from adoption professionals, and things are uncertain until after the baby is born, because the mother needs the full opportunity to make the choice that she believes is the best. So we're so nervous. And I remember we were driving around. We were going to go visit a church, and we get a call from the adoption professionals, and we're just very, very nervous. So we pull into this church. It was St. Joseph's Basilica in Milwaukee. But we pull in and we walk in and we see all these, it's the most beautiful church, and there's all these stained glass windows. And it was like all the saints that we had called in for intercession along the way. Every novena we had prayed, it was like there was a stained glass window for that saint there. And Saint Gerard and Saint Therese of Lisieux. And there was even Saint Junipero Serra, who is much more well known in California, where we were from. There was like a stained glass window there for him in Wisconsin, which we were like, how did that end up here? So it just felt like we were surrounded by saint friends. We had been asking for their intercession along the way. And then my daughter was born, and we were chosen to be her parents. And I'm so grateful that, I had Our Lady to accompany me along the way, and keep me close to God, even in those moments that I got so bitter and was losing hope. And then 2 years after that, give or take, we started the adoption process again, and were chosen by my son's birth mother. And it was lovely and beautiful. And I remember we were visiting a church after he was born. We flew out to his birth and we're with him. We went to a church for Sunday Mass, and I remember I was looking around in the church, and I'm like, I wonder if there's an Our Lady of Guadalupe anywhere here. Like, I wonder if she's here, And I didn't see anywhere inside the church. And then as I go outside the church, there's this giant shrine to Our Lady of Guadalupe right outside the exit. And again, it was like having your mother accompanying you along this journey. So, it's, even in the midst of the uncertainty and pain and bitterness, she was always there to accompany us through it all. Throughout the journey, it was, of the waiting to have children, it was definitely in those darkest and hardest parts where, the only prayer I could say was, Mary, be a mother to me. And then I would feel her comfort and feel her, leading me back to her son, even upset. And there were other times in my life too, not to get off track, but when I was in high school, my grandmother passed away, and I was close to her, and that was a painful experience. And again, that was the only, Mary was a large comfort to me then. The Memorare was my favorite prayer then. And that prayer has always been a comfort when I'm in difficult times and I don't know, where to turn. And it's, as though she'll always help comfort me and bring me back to her son and keep that hope in God and that everything is going to be okay in the end, even if it looks dark. She helps me keep the faith even when I'm struggling. And then the most amazing experience, like I said, my mom when I was very blessed, and she would take us to pilgrimages to many of the Marian apparitions. And in high school, I went to Lourdes, which is it's my favorite place on the planet. When you go to Lourdes, it's just this sense of peace and calm. And the procession that they do in the evenings, everyone in all their different languages singing Immaculate Mary, it's like heaven on earth. Just seeing everyone from all over the world joined in prayer together is the most beautiful experience. And while I was there in Lourdes, I went with a nun who had breast cancer. Had scans and all showed up, and I traveled with her to Lourdes, and she went in the waters, and I'll never forget, she came out and she said, the water was so cold, but when I went in, I felt so warm all over my body. And when she got back, the doctors checked her scans and all the cancer was gone. So being that close to seeing a miracle, I was right there with her, traveled with her. Again, in the darkest times where I struggle with my faith, it's like I can always look back and see where all these instances where I've seen God work so directly in my life, so directly, so closely, and knowing that, again, it was Mary accompanying me through that and giving me that reassurance of God and her son. It's beautiful. So yeah, it's my whole life. So in our daily life, we try to incorporate in our home as many reminders of the faith that we can have. So we have, pictures of Jesus and the Sacred Heart and Mary and the Immaculate Heart around the home, so I can talk to my children about them. And we also say our prayers with them. So getting them to sit through a whole rosary is challenging, but we at least, every night we say at least an Our Father and a Hail Mary.
Our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be our name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. And we send our daily bread, and sin past passes.
And we were decorating our home, we found a perfect little niche and a statue of Mary to go in there, and then a kneeler somewhere else. So we built a little prayer corner that we will pray as a family at. And I just love when I see my children go over there and pray too. We have little rosaries over there, and I'll just see them gravitate over there, and every once in a while they'll pray on their own, and it's just the most beautiful thing in the world. And in our drives to school and work, we incorporate prayer and songs into our routine. It's, life is busy, but we try to work it into all the parts of our life. Oh, every night at bedtime. So for bedtime for the kids, it's story, prayer, and song. And we always sing with them the Immaculate Mary song.
Immaculate Mary, your praises we sing. You reign now in splendor with Jesus our King. Ave, Ave, Ave Maria. Ave, Ave Maria.
Which I'll show them the videos of the processions at Lourdes, and someday I'll take them there too. And hopefully they can experience just the beauty of that and that closeness of heaven to earth. So another thing that we did, a friend and I were planning for Easter, and we're like, it would be really nice if we could have toys that were for our kids that were about Easter and God and Christianity, and ways that we could incorporate our faith into our daily lives with our kids. So her and I recently started a little business. It's called Friends of the Faith, and we have little pillow plush dolls, and so we can talk to our kids about the faith. And I don't care if it sells 2 or 2,000. The fact that we can share our faith with, honestly, even just my children, to make it tangible in a real way, that they can have these reminders in their daily life. We have several different ones. Our first was Jesus, because we have to. And Mary Magdalene. And then one of our very first designs after that was Mary, which hers took us a little while longer because we wanted to make sure it was special and reflected her honored place as the mother of Jesus. And it's just been wonderful to see as we designed it and created it and gave it to our kids and got their approval. They were very picky about what they liked and didn't like, but just to see them incorporate them into their play. Or my kids will be like, can you tell me the story of Mary? And so then at bedtime, when I'm tucking them in, I tell them the story. And then we have a whole bunch of stuff now. We have blankets and t-shirts and all these things where we can incorporate these reminders of the faith into their life and our lives. I've got sweatshirts and t-shirts and all sorts of stuff for me too, just to have those reminders of the faith in daily life. Yeah, Mary has just throughout my life, she's helped point my focus back to God and my faith in Him. And I can only hope that throughout my life, life is a journey and who knows what's going to come next. But no matter what happens, I have her to accompany me on this journey to eternity and to be a mother, guiding me there. Always pointing me back to her Son.
My name is Michael O'Neill, and I'm the Miracle Hunter. And today we're talking about some of the miraculous images of the Virgin Mary from around the world. One of my favorite stories of the Virgin Mary, and it's kind of on the level of Our Lady of Guadalupe, who left that lasting image for St. Juan Diego. There's another image like this, and it's actually found in Colombia. There was a woman named Maria Mueces de Quiñones, and in the year 1754, she was walking amongst Las Lajas, or the flagstones, when she was caught in the snow in a rainstorm. She was running to a cave to seek protection from that rainstorm, and her daughter got there first. Now, her daughter was very sickly. She was deaf and mute. And all of a sudden, she started exclaiming, "I hear the Virgin Mary." And sure enough, they ran away from that spot in fear. They ran to Itopiales, where they were from, and the townspeople came back with them. And when they did come back, they discovered an image of the Virgin Mary that was emblazoned on the cave wall where they were about to go in. And this is an image of the Virgin Mary. It looks like it's in Spanish style from the 17th century, and it has the mother and child with St. Dominic and St. Francis depicted in the same spot. And this may look like a painting at first, but scientists have actually cored into that image and found that the color goes 7 feet deep. And so no known scientific process can produce color in rock. This is considered a miracle locally and a miracle for the world that's been approved by the Catholic Church. And that was Our Lady of Las Lajas in Quidara Canyon in the year 1754.